were that he was back after 10 months, tore his triceps straight off the bone, and he is back here in the pro wrestling business, and it is a business of grown-ups. It is not a popularity contest.
It's a business. That's the key word. And that's why he's back, because it's a business. If it wasn't a business, he wouldn't be back. But, if you can draw money, you'll be back. Conor McGregor's going to fight whenever he wants to fight. Same thing.
He said, if I had told the 15-year-old me that I would sell out Budokan, MSG, every single building in Chicago with a roof, I wouldn't have believed you. But here I am, and I'm tired of being nice. I never fit in anywhere more than I do in pro wrestling. I love the fans because you love me. I've been unapologetic my entire career. I am me. I couldn't have done this without you. Some people hate me for all of the reasons that you people love me. He says, I understand the sheer magnitude of me makes people uncomfortable. My mere presence makes people uncomfortable. But I am the truth, and the truth is uncomfortable. We got to fuck the elite chant. And he says, you can boo me, you can cheer me, love me, hate me, but we do it because you know I'm right. David Zaslav, he says, calls me One Bill Phil because I am the one genuine article in a business full of counterfeit bucks.
Yeah, that was a line.
And the fans chanted CM Punk, and he said he wasn't going to change.
I actually want to bring that up because obviously that's going to be the most talked about line and everything. And if it leads to a program, actually, as soon as he said it, go like, if this leads to a program, that was a great line. And if it leads to, and if it doesn't lead to a program, then the guy who talked about business was not doing business. And even if right now nobody agreed to the line, and it still turns into it because people think that it's something that can draw, then in the end, he manipulated a situation, which is good. If it goes south, here's the thing. If it goes south, he still will win out if it goes south, and whether Tony will win out is something else, because if it causes more problems, then Tony's got to deal with it, but he's going to be fine. So, I'm watching it going from the perspective of the company. He's got free reign to do what he wants. We've already established that. And this could, if it turns into business, then that's great. But there's about 30 different ways it can go. And this line, like many other lines that we have talked about for the last year, will probably be something in a couple of months or at the end of the year where we'll look back and go, what this line means, because it depends on how it all ends up. But my feeling is that if it ends up with them working a program, great. If it ends up with, the elite leaving, it's great for him because obviously I'm sure at the end of the day, that's what he wants. I'm sure he may want a program, he may want whatever, but in the end, he wins, right? If it winds up some other way, we can evaluate it that other way. But, for Tony, is it a good thing? For AEW, is it a good thing? That's what we'll find out at the end of the year. Or at some point.
Says there are people who think they are owed an apology, and so he says, if I owe you an apology, here it is. I am sorry that the only people softer than you are the wrestlers that you like. He says, the last time you saw me, I held what's in this bag in a red bag. He says, I held this over my head, but it's not because I deserve it. It's mine because I earned it. And it's not mine because I had the best dog collar match. It's mine because I won the best dog collar match.
That was a good line.
This is mine until someone can pin me or submit me for it. And there are those of you who I'm sure were praying I'd leave these boots in the ring and walk into the sunset, never to be seen again. But until there is someone in this company that can fill my boots, they belong on my feet. And he told us to tell him when he was telling lies. And that was his promo. And the people ate it up here in Chicago.
It was the perfect place to do it. And, there's you know what, even if he goes, like I said, even if he goes, let's say Toronto next week, it's a mixed reaction. And it maybe he'll get cheered a lot. Maybe he'll get booed a lot. Toronto's a different city.
Hey, it's Bizarro World.
It's not Bizarro World. It's actually, ahead of the curve world. But if the key is not if he's cheered or booed, the key is if it draws ratings, if it does pay-per-view business. And, like time will tell. I expect the rating to be real big. It's funny, I saw something. It was Brandon Thurston, I think, did like this poll on Twitter. And every time, and I do this obviously before pay-per-views, and every time I will say when it comes to an AEW pay-per-view, it's probably 90 to 95% wrong and always low. And I saw his thing, and I think that the number that popped up was 0.26. And I was looking at that and going for tonight, for a month from now, 0.26 is a good number. For tonight, I think it's going to be way higher than that. I mean, it's Punk's first time. It's Punk's first time back, and it's been more, and that's part of it. But the other one is this show has been publicized to death. It's not like it's just a regular weekly show. They have been publicizing this date all over those Turner stations. I think this is going to do a real big number. I don't want to say it won't do as big as the first time he came back. I don't think it will, and maybe it will. But I think the show will. I could be dead wrong. I think the show will open pretty damn good, and where it goes, it's the show was a good show. So and in that sense, it's a positive. If the show went and sucked, then you would go oh, it was a bad whatever. Obviously Saturday is going to be a very tough night over the long haul because of all the different forms of competition there's going to be almost every week, and real bad in the fall and all that. But they picked this week to debut because the key sports events are over, and and there's nothing for a couple of months so they can build this audience until they know it's going to be very, very tough once college football starts. So they wanted, this was a very strategic night to pick for the debut of this show.
And we had Luchasaurus and Wardlow for the TNT title with Christian at ringside. And, of course, he interfered regularly to help Luchasaurus get heat.
Bryan, you need to tell people what you think about that promo.
It was a promo. It was a promo.
You know what I'm talking about?
What do you want? No, I have nothing. I have nothing to say. He had great delivery.
I thought it was a great promo, but
he had great delivery, and you know what? You do a promo for your audience, and he did a promo for his audience, and they ate it up.
Right, but there's also long term.
Well, obviously long term.
This is going to be one where, like I said, it could go many different ways. And
well, here's the long term.
We don't know the long term.
Yeah, I know some of the long term. He's
not the short.
He's not immediately feuding with MJF, so that's interesting.
No,
and,
but
he's not going to be feuding with the Elite. So
okay.
That's that.
But he is going to be feuding with MJF at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah,
but we got two feuds before that point.
Yeah, but he should be teasing. You want little teases.
You want teases, but who is he wrestling next?
It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter because he had a half hour of television time to tell us who he's wrestling next.
I don't know.
So that we will get interested in that particular match.
Well, maybe they're going to shoot an angle in a week or two. They didn't need to do that tonight. Tonight, the one thing that was professional in business was the mention of MJF and the line where he talked about, because MJF's been talking about this greatest singles dog collar match in history, which is out of great deference that everyone has to FTR and the Briscoes. Because if it wasn't for that match, I'm sure that MJF would be saying the greatest dog collar match in history. Because that is the Briscoes and FTR match, in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's minds, was the greatest dog collar match in history. So they're clarifying it with singles, and you can argue it. I know that when I saw it on that night, I thought it was the best dog collar match, because the FTR match hadn't happened yet. I thought it was the best dog collar match I had seen. So, let's not even, you always want to exaggerate and build yourself up. But the idea of he's been using that line, and then Punk comes in and goes, but I won it, which is the important thing. And that does That tells everyone, like, hey, he had that big win. So there you go. So
then, to me, listen, if everybody knew that he was coming back on this day, okay,
and they do,
then we should not have even started this MJF Adam Cole thing. Because this should be the first feud. MJF and CM Punk for the title that CM Punk never lost.
That's why they slowed down the Adam Cole feud. They didn't.
But you think they're going MJF next? MJF and Punk.
I don't know when. They shouldn't. They shouldn't go. They should not go for it next. It's too early to go with it. They should build it up for months.
I don't think it's too early to go for it. I think that should be the next feud for MJF is CM Punk for that title. Title. The champion versus the uncrowned champion. That's the biggest match they've got for CM Punk right now. And if you don't go to that immediately, then you're taking the edge off the Tanahashi match. You're taking the edge off the Adam Cole match because everybody knows the big match is the match with CM Punk. So go to that one first.
Good. Then go to it. Go to it on August 27th or go to it on September 3rd.
That should be the focus, though.
That's fine. Then go, But, it's like, you can't go for it now. You've got two giant... If this is the biggest match you got, you've got two giant shows. It's got to be, the second show, the Chicago show, is going to be a tough one because it's going to come after the London show. But the London show is the biggest show. So you got to put it on one. And I think Chicago's probably the better place for that one. But and you still got to have another got to have another MJF match. That's the situation they're in. It's not either or. You got to build up... You've got to build matches up. I like the tease. Look, with WWE, they've been teasing Roman Reigns and Solo against the Usos for a long, long time. And now we're finally getting it. You don't, it's not like, they started the tease, we got to get it in 3 weeks. We get it when we get it, and you give it time to build up. I wouldn't. I would, as far as would I do it in London? Yeah, sure. You could do it in London. You could do it in Chicago. I would do Chicago, for the obvious reason.
So we had Luchasaurus and Wardlow, and as noted,